Okay, hey guys, so I have some pretty important information that may be affecting the states with this corona situation. Y'all know that the algorithm's being so hard on this topic. But just a couple days ago, there was at least 200 patients from just down the road from where I am. They went to a Mardi Gras ball at the casino, the local casino. We have a couple casinos here, and at least 200 of them are said to have contracted the norovirus. Now, I find that very interesting because norovirus is a rule-out diagnosis in most situations. Essentially in all of them, unless somebody's like extreme bad. And what is a rule-out diagnosis? A rule-out diagnosis just means, you know, you present into the emergency room or urgent care or whatever it is, and you tell them, hey, I'm having stomach problems, diarrhea, throwing up, nausea, blah, 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 whatever you're having. And they may just do like a panel blood screen, you know, regular labs on you to test your white blood cells, red blood cells, all the normal blood labs, and maybe do an x-ray, maybe do a CAT scan. That would be like if you went to an ER, they would likely do an x-ray and a CAT scan, okay? And give you some fluids or whatever, all right? And all your labs come back essentially good. Your white blood cells might be a little bit elevated, but that's about it. And so they say, well, you look good, you just have one of those stomach viruses, i.e. norovirus. Obviously, stomach virus can be caused by other things, and norovirus is one of the more serious ones. But here's the thing. This causes flu-like symptoms as well as the stomach virus, you know, the nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, NVD is what we call it, and all of these things. And that's 200 people got it in one night at the ball at the casino, okay? But let me explain to you how the casino is. Okay, without being too like, I know everybody's making this into a race or whatever, but we're just being real, okay? I worked at the casino. I've been to the casino, you know, when I was like 18 years old, I worked there. But I've been to the casino. We've had casinos here my entire life. I would be comfortable in saying around 80% of the normal casino goers, the customers there, are of Asian descent. And they come from Houston, the Houston area. They have buses coming in here all day, every day, with, you know, people, I don't know what part of Asia, but, you know, a lot of them are Chinese. I can say that for a fact because I've talked to them. And so this is not out of the realm of possibilities. It's actually quite, that's exactly what me and my dad were talking about just the other day. We were like, you know, if anything happens, it's gonna start at the casinos. And then bam, we have this. But okay, we have some information that China finally released some information. Thanks, China. So they gave us some information about 138 patients. And they went through, you know, the presenting, you know, what people are getting, their symptoms, the ages, blah, 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 you know, all of these things. So the ages are somewhere around 22 to 92. This was a very broad spectrum. But the thing is with this that I want to point out for this is that 10%, 1 in 10 of them their first presenting sign was, guess what? NVD, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. Isn't that interesting? I find it extremely interesting. And see, out of this 138, 36 of them went to the ICU, which y'all know we have to take these numbers with a grain of salt. But they go through all of the other stuff. And this is my hypothesis. It's just a hypothesis out of what all of the information that I have gone through with the genomes and all of this and how it's affecting Asian people, especially Asian men, more than any other race. This is what my hypothesis is. Here in the States are getting the coronavirus, this 2019 one, the novel coronavirus, but yet they're only getting symptoms like the NVD and things like that. Because I've said this multiple times, the only way the hospital is going to test you at this point here in the States and in Europe is if you know for a fact that you have been around someone that was in the Wuhan region. Or if you're like, you know, kind of just like if you're young and just dying on the table, they'll probably test you for it. But that's the only way they're going to test you for it. I even brought it up in the CDC, and you know, I read like what they recommend and everything. That's what they recommend. They recommend that the only reason you test people, even if they have all these symptoms, and heck, they might be an Uber driver or they might work at a casino or something, the only way that the hospitals in the US are supposed to be testing them right now, because the CDC is the only place that can confirm this virus, which concerns me, because that means only the CDC knows what the strand looks like. But I'm not going to get on that, you know. But yeah, let's not get in on that. Actually, we will, but in just a second. So we have 200 people randomly in one night all get this norovirus, which is a rule-out diagnosis. Most of them, if not all of them, I would imagine maybe one of them must have been tested for them to say, oh, yep, it's the norovirus, okay? But it was probably an elderly person or something, and that was their diagnosis. And so they just went ahead and said, oh, hey guys, it looks like all of these people were at the casino at this Mardi Gras ball, so you've got a stomach flu. And so we're dealing with two situations, well, like three. We're dealing with the government not wanting to talk about this virus being in the United States. We're dealing with a casino that doesn't want anything connected to their name. We're also dealing with a casino whose vast majority of customers are Asian, and so they have zero desire to shut down their operations. And we have so many other situations. We have people lying to us about the numbers, you know, so we've situations going on all at once. But that's why, you know, we do what we do, and we have to put together these puzzle pieces, because if we don't, unfortunately, it doesn't seem like anybody will. This is not bragging. This is just, it's actually kind of sad, because it's really quite astonishing to see this all unfold. You know, because if you go through like my videos or other people's videos that have been talking about this, or even like when we were talking about Ebola, because y'all, these all have very similar symptoms. I'm not gonna say that these are all the same thing. And then we have this new virus in Nigeria that's already killed like 40 people, and many of them were healthcare workers That's the same thing. They had 40, okay, it might not have been 40 in Nigeria, but I know it was 40 in China. In one hospital, 40 healthcare workers got sick, got the coronavirus. 10 of them was from one patient. They were doing surgery on one patient. That patient had coronavirus. This is how contagious this is, y'all. I also want to kind of touch on the fact that from what I've seen, they don't seem to be as knowledgeable on healthcare, on like sanitation measures, meaning like the way that we wear gloves for essentially everything. You know, in the hospital, it's like gloves, gloves, gloves. But yet we see all of these videos of people going, you know, these police officers going to these people's houses to take them out of their houses because they supposedly have the coronavirus, but yet they're not wearing gloves or anything. And I was gonna do it. Actually, I'll probably just add that to the end of this. I was gonna say this is why the coronavirus is spreading so much over there, because of what they don't seem to understand. They don't seem to understand that, you know, if something was, I mean, which I believe it is here, something that infectious, the way that we would be handling it would be in full biohazard suits. You know, it would be completely different, and I don't think they get that. You know, with their police officers and military and stuff, all of these people taking temperatures and stuff with no gloves on, with no goggles on. It's just not what the correct protocols are in any type of infectious, even when with non-infectious people, y'all. I mean, but okay, I won't get too much into that, but that's extremely important. It is extremely important. But this needs to be at least brought up to all of these people. And, you know, I'm going to try to share it with people around my area and stuff, but I guess more of us will have to just start talking about it. But it absolutely does seem to be lining up with exactly what I was saying, with how it is affecting Asian men moreover than anyone else. Because whenever, you know, with the sequencing and everything, and I put out that video, it's called, Are You on This List? If you haven't seen that, check that video out, because it lists what your risk factor is of getting this coronavirus by your ethnicity. It's obviously not 100%, but it came from Harvard, and it seems to be absolutely correct. And so that's another thing. I believe that if Americans, whether they be Hispanic, white, it depends, African, if you're African American, it depends on how, you know, where you're, what part of Africa you're from, so you'd have to break that down. But what I'm saying is, the people that got this at the casino, it could very well be coronavirus, and that's all they're going to present with. They might be completely fine in a few days. But here's where I'm concerned. I'm concerned with them giving it to other people that are immune compromised. And that's what my big concern is with them only testing it at the CDC. It's like, yeah, it might not affect us as much because we don't produce as much ACT, angiotensin enzyme, converting enzyme, but we could still carry it and then give it to someone else, a baby or somebody with cancer, or all of these people. You see what I'm saying? That's really my main concern right now from the numbers and everything that I'm looking at. That's what it seems like. It seems like, you know, Americans would be less likely. I'm not saying this 100%. I'm just saying this is how it looks. Okay? And so these 200 people that just got this absolutely have coronavirus. Because like I said, it is a rule out diagnosis in most cases. The only way to test for the norovirus is to do a stool sample. If you don't know what that is, look it up. They test your poop, so you have to put it in a cup and they have to send it off to the lab. And that doesn't happen in most places unless, you know, like immune compromised, like a cancer patient, we would do it. Or, you know, it's not something that is done just, that's why they just do the rule out diagnoses. Because it's like, okay, it's a stomach virus, you'll be, you know, out for a few days, but then you'll get better. And so all of these hundreds of people that got this might be just thinking, oh, I have the stomach flu, I'll be good. So if you're watching this and you were at that ball, please take this seriously, because in 10% of the patients in China, so we have to make that differentiation. People don't understand that, yes, it does affect different ethnicities differently. It absolutely does. And, you know, if 10% in China are showing up with these presenting factors, that might be a major presenting factor here. Because, all right, so here's the article that came out. It said GI symptoms may be overlooked in coronavirus cases. Not unusual in coronavirus, expert says. So GI symptoms, which had not been considered as a primary clinical feature of the novel coronavirus, were observed in the first U.S. case of the illness. Researchers found coronavirus RNA was detected in the patient's stool sample on day 7 after the illness. And the patient's clinical symptoms included a 2-day history of nausea and vomiting prior to admission. They go on to talk about the 35-year-old patient, and then there was another one that was 27-year-old in Vietnam. And then they also cite some patients that this is what occurred during SARS as well. And most of you already know, but SARS is also a coronavirus. And so even though it might not be true for all coronaviruses, it is obviously presenting this way. All right, guys, I hope that was informative. I hope it wasn't too confusing for you. Let me just summarize. Okay, so just because you have a stomach flu, if they didn't actually test your stool, then they don't know exactly what you have, and you might have something else. This is not to scare you, but if you're immunocompromised, if they tell you have a stomach virus and you're still feeling like crap 2, 3, 4 days later, seriously get this checked out. You know, force them to do a coronavirus screening on you, because the most recent information that's come out, which we essentially already knew, is that this virus is aerosol. It's not only droplets, which droplets would only be usually like 3 meters or something. Aerosol is bad. That means essentially anyone can get it. You can just be like at Disneyland with the same people, okay? Like that's why it's so contagious. We're not gonna go through any of that footage, any more of that, because I keep putting my videos at 18 plus, but I will. I came across some videos that are quite more shocking videos, but Sheeple People, his channel, he's been putting up a lot of good videos with like 30-second clips and stuff, to where it's not like this long drawn out, it's just like actual on the ground what's going on. And Beezer, I believe his channel is. I'll put the links to their channels down below. They're putting up a lot of great, and 8 News. All 3 of those channels put up great, like 1 minute, 2 minute clips of just like what's going on, and not all this rambling like I'm doing. But anyway, guys, I hope that was informative. Again, prevention is the best way for anything. I mean, just always be prevention cautious. Don't be touching things that you shouldn't have to be, and just prevent whatever you can. Don't be going into places like Disneyland, places like casinos, places like Ubers, and these where there's been a lot of people and you don't have a exit point, that, you know, there's no circulate. All of these places are just a terrible idea, especially right now, okay? And of course, get your silver. It is great for so many things. Due to the FDA, we can't say exactly what it's good and what it's not good for, but there are 5, Dr. Pedersen has at least 5 peer-reviewed journal articles and of studies. I mean, he's been working with this stuff for so long. But you know, you get the lozenges, the gel, the solution, obviously, and this stuff you can do so many other things with. It's not just take a tablespoon of it, and you can actually like put this in a spray bottle and spray your furniture with it. You can actually, I mean, there's some amazing things that people wouldn't even think of. You can put it, mix like a little bit in paint your wall, and it's going to stop your walls from getting mold. Just things that like you wouldn't even think of, but it's great for bacteria, viruses, yeast, all of those things. And just go to the website. The link will be in the pinned comments with a 20% off, and you can go and read everybody's testimonies and everything. But that's what me and my kids are taking. We've been taking it for months, and he's a great doctor. He has 3 doctorates and an MD, so he's a great guy. An MD, yeah. I did an interview with him recently, if you want to check that out. But okay, it's getting so late, my brain's not even working. But I wanted to get that information out. So y'all have a wonderful night. Like, share, and subscribe. Bye, guys.